Hey, it's Matt O'Leary, and today we're going to listen to the first single from this upcoming solo album from Brian D'Addario. It's called Till the Morning. This is one half of the Lemon Twigs. And I'll just explain my love for the band this way. Their last two albums were both my records of the year. So while I have a lot of favorite artists and bands who are active right now, like King Gizzard or The Deer Hunter or the Reign of Kindo, or maybe some bands that are just a little bit past their prime, like Opeth or Coheed and Cambria or Duncan or Mew or Porcupine Tree. The Lemon Twigs are my favorite band that's like in their prime right now. Brian is probably my favorite of the two brothers, just in terms of songwriting. So I've been waiting on this announcement for a long time. I knew the solo album was coming. I thought it was going to be called Brian's in Love, but maybe that was just a joke. Instead, it's called Till the Morning. It's coming out March 20th on Headstack Records. So pretty fun little record label announcement there as well. They got a nice tote bag that has the two looking like characters from School of Rock, or those Rankin and Bass Christmas special cartoons. You know what I'm talking about? The cover, a very psychedelic Americana sort of vibe, still in that sweet spot of late 60s that the band lives in. So I'm going to put these things on. I'm going to listen to the song. I'm going to tell you what I think of it. First listen, a little misleading because I did get a sneak on the day it came out, but this is the first, close listen. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Travels through all of the film back until the morning.
Okay, so just gotta call this out. The first song that came to mind is Village Green Preservation Society, right? From the Kinks. You got that do 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 do, and another one. What's it called? The band, their big song, "The Weight." I think that's what it's called. It's got that same stepwise down thing going on. Very breezy, very folksy, rootsy.
They show me things
The bass sounds really good.
never could have seen. Whose candle burn brightly till the morning.
I'm hearing some lyrics in here that don't strike me as like distinctly Brian. Maybe it's just a new side of him. I know he's also been working with a collaborator for this solo album on lyrics. So if you know anything more about that, let me know. I'm not used to hearing that kind of country drawl from Brian. They've double tracked his voice. So it has a much more processed sort of feel to it. A little bit reedy sounding. If I think of a song like A Dream Is All We Know, it was just a single isolated track, no doubling, very vulnerable, very different sound he's trying to achieve on this thing. Yeah, cool.
All the saints who
I hear a little like Dylan and the band I mentioned. It's a different feel for Brian for sure. It's less of that kind of ornate Baroque pop, although there's still that in there. There's very clever instrumentation and parts that are written. The bass is dancing all around. The organ is doing all sorts of stuff. But the form of it is much more like hymn-like or like folk song. It just has kind of verse after verse instead of breaking off into a chorus, into a bridge, like a lot of those songs on the last record. I'm very curious to know if the rest of the record is like this in just the simplicity of the form. I would love to see breaking off into different sections a little bit more often. I'm hopeful that the rest of the album will do that. That's kind of my preference as a listener, as a fan of progressive type music, is shifting from disparate section to section and unpredictability in that sense in the form, rather than this, which is much more kind of predictable, the chord progression. I always wonder with a single if they're trying to use it to represent the whole of the album or if it's just another track, if all the songs are going to have a little bit different approach. But it does seem from the title of the song, the title of the album, the aesthetic of the video, the cover, that it all kind of is fitting into this mold. So I'd expect more of this kind of folksy country type of sound from him. I'm not crazy about the vocal melody. Like, it's a little bit predictable. I think the lyric is much more of an emphasis here compared to previous Brian songs where the weirdness of the melody has been a big part of it. A song like Sweet Vibration from the last album. Although the production is so good, so lush, the organ sounds amazing. It just has this enveloping tone. The bass really stands out to me on this track. I like the vocal approach. It's different for him, which is cool that he can get a totally different sound, both through the way it's produced and, just also his approach to actually singing. But the form of the song itself, the predictability of the progression after you listen through a verse or two, is not really my thing. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to warm up, to be honest, but I'm definitely going to give it that because if any artist deserves it at this point, it's Brian. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed with the song. I really love the overall sound, the mood, but my expectations are so crazy high that there's probably it's not fair. There's no up. It definitely makes me want to hear more of the album, which is probably the point. So, I want to hear if all the songs are kind of similar to this or if this is just kind of a tone setter in a sonic palette sense. I know that the band likes to just record and record, so they have a bunch of music just piled up, some unfinished, and they're just sitting on so many songs that this is kind of a nice way to purge some of that, to get rid of it, to just get it out there so they can move on to the next thing. And doing it under Brian's name as a solo artist is nice for them because they don't have all the contractual obligations of going on tour and kind of all the things that come along with a Lemon Twigs album release. And I think just due to how much music they write and record, they're going to be putting out stuff pretty regularly. I would expect every year for them to put out something, whether it's a solo album or a Lemon Twigs album, if we are so fortunate. As always, we're just blessed by your music, Brian. Thank you so much. And Michael, appreciate what you guys do. The album is ready to pre-order, so I'll put that link below. I'll also put a couple more Lemon Twigs related videos down below. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the channel, like this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.